All right, Zig coming in on top. Today on the show, we have Ben and Dave of the Chewy Center, a Cleveland-based jam band, but not just your regular jam band. They got a flair of metal, funk, and fruscianteism to their music. The Chewy Center has a new EP out. It's on all streaming platforms, and they've been doing this process of single releases throughout the months of different covers. I met Dave when he played with Grav for their EP release, which if you haven't heard that episode, check those guys out. Grav is a super talented band, and the Chewy Center is equally as talented and deserved to be on that bill. This conversation took place out of studio and out of the cat cave, not really a studio, I don't know what I'm talking about. But we went to the Chewy Center, which was in Dave's basement, and we had a pretty good setup, but the only thing that was troublesome was their heater would go on and off. So in the conversation you're about to hear, I did almost everything I could to, on my end, edit it out, but it's just in there. So I apologize for the weird hiss you're going to hear, but I highly plead that you listen through this conversation because we get into some deep stuff. And this was a really fun Tuesday night. We hung out to probably around midnight, and you just got into music, writing music, OCD, how music helps, and just the Chewy Center of it all. Before we dive into the conversation, we're going to listen to a track from the Chewy Center. This is their rendition of Funkadelic's Red Hot Mama. The Chewy Center, Red Hot Mama, their take on the Funkadelic classic. Their EP is out now on all streaming platforms. Before we get into our conversation, if you can rate, review, subscribe to the podcast and all the podcast platforms, it helps me keep talking to cool artists and sharing their insights with you. And with that being said, we're going to get to the Chewy Center of it all. Here's my conversation with Dave and Ben.
The first time in years. I love pentatonics.
Are you like the a cappella group? Okay.
I'm a huge fan of them. And my voice is always deep, so I can sing like bass notes, and their old bass singer was fucking amazing.
Are you into a cappella shit?
No, I used to be.
Okay.
In college.
Were you in a group?
I tried, but I'm like, hey guys, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get together. Here's the sheet music. Learn your shit. They never did. So I'm just like, all right, literally, fuck you guys.
Where'd you go?
Bowling Green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know Trino Leaves?
Ooh, what college?
They went to Bowling Green.
Yeah, no, sorry, what, business, music, school, art?
I don't know what Dustin went for.
Art.
He, I know he went to Bowling Green, but Trino Leaves would play a lot at Howard's and stuff.
Wait a minute, band?
Yeah, the band Trino Leaves.
Billy Gruber?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, yes. Billy was my dude.
Was it? That's
Holy
awesome.
Shit, yes.
Yeah, it's a small world, man.
Wait a minute, I have not talked to Billy in years. Do you still know him?
Yeah, well, we did something with Trino Leaves not too long ago, and I just did a podcast with Dustin.
Shit.
Yeah, for their Trino Leaves put out this crazy comic album.
Yeah.
It's really dope.
Oh, I got to check that out.
So
Damn,
so
I
yeah.
gotta hit Billy up again.
All right, well, we're doing it. This is dope. That was a perfect way to come into this.
Hell, no kidding.
Yeah.
Soft open
or hard open, I don't know. Chewy Center, and I'm with Ben and Dave. How's it going?
We're here.
Yeah, doing good.
Getting ready for Thanksgiving.
So just so we get our voices, so the listeners know. So we got Dave.
Hello.
And that'd be you.
I'm Ben. Hi.
So you went to Bowling Green?
I did.
Yeah?
I did. I went for art.
Art?
Yeah.
What was the medium?
Mine was 3D art with a specifics in priority in glass blowing.
Okay.
Actually, traditional style glass blowing.
And you could that's crazy that that's even an option.
I know.
You know what I mean? That's dope.
I didn't think it was an option either until I got there and I saw, because I went for drawing and painting, and until I got to college, I forgot that those weren't the only styles of art. So I'm just like, oh, I got to try this other stuff. And I was always good with my hands, building and all that stuff. So, I still work construction, kind of, sort of. And,
Did you grow up in BG?
No. I always Parma, Dirty P, born and raised. But
the AMRAP.
Absolutely, it's no. So Bowling Green was new to me, but yeah. So I picked up 3D art, and immediately this is what I wanted to do. This is fantastic. So that's what I stuck with. It was a good time.
Okay, all right. And then when music become like the thing, you were just doing a cappella shit?
Music was always kind of sort of a thing for me and Dave. Like we met each other forever ago in high school, and so we would be in like a praise band. If you've listened to us before, we've talked about that. That's our way of escaping the pews in mass.
Like we went to Catholic school, so you had to go to like school mass once every few weeks, and depending on the priest they got, it could be like a quick 50 or it could be like a 2.5 hour mass. Like you just never knew.
Right.
So all the musicians, like people who played like drums and like, guitar and bass and piano or would sing, like it was called music ministry. But no one like took it like super seriously. Like and we just rotated out. And one thing that we did this one song that followed the same chord progression as Through Glass by Stone Sour. So Ben, myself, and our bass player Nate were just playing the backing music of Through Glass during this Jesus song.
And it worked so well.
That was the first time we ever played together.
Well.
So let's kind of build up to this mass music. So, Ben, when did you start playing? Was drums the first?
Drums? No. So I went through. I don't know if I've actually ever talked about that one. So I always kind of liked the idea of playing music.
Yeah.
But when it came down to what to play, that was a different story. Like one of the first options was piano,
Okay.
So parents got me a keyboard, and I was messing around with that. Never took a lesson because I threw the keyboard away immediately. Like I was just like, nah, this isn't cool. So put that away. This is still grade school, and people were going around for the grade school like, hey, if anyone wants to try an instrument, we got like kind of sort of music program. Like, and so like, all right, if you want to raise your hand if you want to play it. So I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. And they said, all right, we have, like, flute, we have this, we have that. And I chose flute for some reason. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool.
You're a flute guy.
And I'm a flute guy. And so they're like, okay, cool. So we have this mouthpiece, like, try to blow into it. We'll see, like, how well you do. And I got the hang of it. And they're like, actually, that was pretty good, like, maybe you could do this.
Flute's hard.
Flute's hard.
Because you got to, like, angle that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're blowing at it sideways. It's really, really weird. And so like, yeah, like, this could, be something you can do. And then later, like, they gave us a slip, like, hey, you still want to do this? I said no. So gave up on flute immediately. And there were always things like, guitar would be cool. I had a guitar for a little bit, never really did much with that.
You were made to be a drummer, Ben.
That's the weird thing, because, like, and I did have a bass, so I do know how to play, like, the basics of bass. And that's where, like, my rhythm experience kind of sort of came in. But I noticed, even in grade school, I was always, like, tapping my feet and, like, my fingers and stuff. And never thought of drums. But then I decided to do it because I heard the Down With the Sickness from Disturbed, like, drum intro.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's dope. So Christmas morning, 2008, I think it was, my parents got me, I still have a couple pieces that I use for that practice kit.
Yeah.
I have a practice kit right over here.
Yeah, we're in the center.
We're in the center
of the Chewy Center.
And god damn it, is it chewy.
It's very chewy.
And dusty.
And dusty.
But,
who knew that they came what's dusty is chewy, but
so that was my first kit, and I sat down and I played what I rendered as Down With the Sickness, like, immediately. So
damn.
I'm just like,
okay.
And for whatever reason that one stuck. So since 2008 I've been playing drums.
Okay. All right. We'll put a pin in it and get.
Absolutely.
So, Dave, what got you into music? What was it in the family? Was it guitar you started with?
It was family. So my mom studied music at BW, and like she was in the Cleveland Opera, and she sings in a big band still.
No, okay. What's the big band?
It's called Swing City Big Band.
All right.
Out of Lorain County.
Sick.
They're awesome. So like, show tunes, opera, big band music was like all from my mom, and that's the music I heard first. And then my dad and my stepdad, like, if you ask them, like, what's your taste in music, like, they wouldn't say rock, they'd say Bruce Springsteen. Like, they're part of, like, that
It's
era
different.
of dads.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So that was like my foundation,
Yeah.
and I was in a bell choir in elementary school, and
Okay.
then the bell choir teacher taught piano, so I started piano, and then about 13 I picked up a guitar, and it was always like I never thought I was just kind of strummed and sang,
Yeah.
and then like through college I learned to play a little more, and then once we started playing, like myself, Ben, and our bass player Nate, that was the genesis of Chewy Center.
Yeah.
Having played together on and off through the years, I was always like, I'll play guitar till we get a real guitar player, and then this never happened. So I'm like, okay, I have to like really learn how to do this well. But now I love it. Like there's like a really cool community of musicians, and like I love that we're a part of it, and like you like hear your friends playing like in shows, and like everybody has their own nuance. Like there's something cool about it.
No, definitely. And that you do. You play, you shred, my friend. Like,
Thanks, man.
Get it.
like, and so it's interesting that it was a necessity. A lot of times, the lead cat, you know, the you come in wanting to do that and trying to find people to build it around.
I always saw myself as like the lead singer who had to play guitar. And
Yeah.
now, like, I'm finally starting to feel comfortable as like, no, I'm also the guitar player.
I do that too. That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. What was what was like the first couple of steps branching out from taking like a chord strummy approach? You know what I mean? Because that's two different mindsets.
Like I feel like it's super cliche, but like Frusciante era Chili Peppers
Okay.
kind of changed everything for
Yeah.
me. I've got the Chili Pepper asterisk on my arm. Like,
Nice. So does Cody.
That's to a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's a dope tat. And everyone's
is.
like,
But yeah, just there was like this simplicity in it, but it was also funky, and like he could like just go crazy with it. And then I got into his solo records.
yeah.
Like all the ones he kind of recorded like during his second tour of duty with the Chili Peppers.
Right. With like so many came out for that.
Imperium,
Yeah.
Shadows Collide with People,
The
like,
record water for 10 days.
like all that stuff. So that kind of like, I don't know, that was a big influence. Like definitely the Frusciante stuff. And then when I got to like my late junior year of college, I discovered Freeze McGee, which is like the prog metal jam band.
Yeah.
And like none of us were into jam bands in high school or anything. We were into like Avenged Sevenfold and Slipknot, and like we still are. I was running to the self-titled album on Sunday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's funny.
That still slaps.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, and like Freeze McGee, like that's kind of how I like learned more about like the festival band world, and then like the band discs, like we kind of made our own way in it.
Yeah.
So like when we started playing, like people are like, "Oh, like you know this Fish song?" We're like, "No."
What is it? That's one to speak on the Frusciante shit like that. Those like he's just got that approach where it's like it's kind of BB King-esque. He can make one note sing, you know, and not too many people in the rock world do that. A lot of guys like shred, you know. There's a lot going on, but Frusciante, he'll take like two notes and that's it. I
forget who said it, but like there was some guitar video I was watching where it was like learn how to play lead, but there was this exercise where it's like if you really want to learn how to get the most out of it, like play one note and just like only play that note in different like time intervals, and don't go to another note until you feel like you've earned it.
Oh, okay.
And like that's been a really cool practice technique.
Because you think like that also makes me think of that "Wanna Be Sedated," the Ramones, that solo, you know what I mean? But it almost becomes just a rhythmic thing, and like I think that's a Wootenism too, and like that groove DVD he's got, where he's just talking about playing one note and just lining it up with different rhythms in the pocket. But like Frusciante for guitar players is like it's the Miles Davis of that sound and that approach. So
And he's back.
I know, and he's back. Oh man,
I saw this one meme where somebody was like, every decade John Frusciante comes out of his apartment, decides whether or not the decade will be good or not.
Oh my
Meaning,
God.
will he be in the band or not?
Yeah.
Like he goes away, the decade sucks.
Now here's the thing. Two things actually. So like, there was one time that Dave, you said something that always kind of stuck with me. that, and it was you talking about Frusciante, and you're like, dude, like here's the thing, like it was at a point where I think you were trying to figure out what you were doing with like singing and guitar like all at the same time, right? And you said something so cool. You're like, dude, like, I think I got to step back a little bit and like instead of trying to like go fast or like do all these like finger like, crazy things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn to like pull the Frusciante and like, slow it down, play a note, but play it well. And I was just like, oh, oh shit. Okay. Like that, like, and I was just like, damn, that's actually like it going back to the fundamentals. I love it. Like that's some.
It's a lifelong practice.
Yeah, no, for sure. But another thing was like one thing that really worked with again just like the beginning trio with me, Nate, and Dave. So like obviously me and Nate, just by instrument.
Nate's our bass player.
Nate's the bass player. Yes. And by instrument, we're already like the rhythm section. And the way that we kind of morphed, as like a trio, like you got to fill a lot of space. And so me and Nate sometimes do a couple little extra things that otherwise go unnoticed, but like, fill like, an area here and there that like, you need to fill. And Dave also took up like the lead guitar part, but also like rocks the cradle between lead guitar and rhythm guitar all at the same time, so that we're able to like, as a three-piece try and make noise, like, fill the space, and do it well.
And then we had a baby. We had Steve.
And then we brought Steve on, and oh my God.
Steve's our keyboard player, but he's also our producer.
Yeah.
So we put out a single of Red Hot Mama earlier in 2021. That was his first production.
That definitely okay.
Us.
That was listening through everything. There was a turning point production wise.
Steven.
Okay, and that makes sense.
And no disrespect to our friend who produced Happy You're Here.
Yeah.
Like Willie's awesome, and like we were like are happy with this like that experience. There is something to be said, like when you have the production in house in your band.
Oh my
God.
It's something different. And
right. And well, and like that was like how many years later, right? It should be better.
Yeah.
It should be. It should be better. But before diving into that, like vocally, do you draw from Frusciante as well? I don't know why that was so hard to say right there, but because you really rock the falsetto, and like now once you say that you're into Frusciante, I'm like, well, that's where he's like a Fruscianteism is. That's how he's gonna approach singing it.
For sure.
For sure.
Especially to solo records. I always joke that like I would pay more money to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers without Anthony Kiedis.
You're not the only one who jokes that.
Like if it was just the three of them jamming and just like playing cover songs, I would pay twice as much. But also just growing up with my mom being a professional vocalist, like that's a lot of pressure.
Right.
And like it's eternal imposter syndrome just because it's like my mom can sing opera and she's got a wide range and she's got a lot of power and like she does all the technicalities right. And she just knows like hundreds, if not thousands of songs, like just off a whim. That's all the things she's done. So I think like I got to a point like maybe 8-9 months ago where I was we had a show and like I had like a super shitty vocal performance.
Yeah.
And we were the headliner and I was really upset about it.
What was it like? Did you just lose your voice? Could you not hear it?
Oh, I mean, I drank it away that night.
Oh, okay.
Not only that, it was like, I was at the Winchester, like we were just like yelling over each other and stuff.
When you're talking, like before, that's where I lose my voice too. It isn't necessarily playing. It's just getting up to playing where the radio's like, yeah, how's it going? Oh, cool, yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I get why people don't want to talk until after.
But like I went to vocal lessons with a really great teacher named Chuck Eversole who was a friend of my mom's from college.
Okay.
He worked with the original cast of Rent. Like,
damn.
He's done a lot of choir work, and like he's a musical theater guy. Like
I know I didn't like Rent.
He doesn't give.
Sorry,
bastard.
Sorry.
But like he didn't give two shits about like the rock thing, or especially the jam rock thing.
Right.
So like I had to kind of learn how to use the diaphragm and like what that actually means.
Right.
And like,
right.
Not only does that make you sound better, but it gives you longevity. And like if you're kind of not feeling great, it kind of gives you a little edge to overcome it. It might not be perfect,
right,
but it's a lot better than it could be.
Do you do the lip roll things for the?
I can't even roll my R's, man.
Yeah.
Like I just.
That's like
Rodrigo.
like the lip roll thing is a technique I learned from a guy, George Hartwig, and that really helps smooth out if you're losing your voice. Doing the lip roll thing, like if you can't hit a certain note, usually your head voice is what goes first.
Yeah.
And for you, that's like, fuck, the night's over. You know what I mean? Like, but so like the lip roll thing actually really helps soothe it. If it's, you have to do it for a fat minute. We'll put a pin in it. We're not gonna just
right.
do that for everyone listening.
To any singers out there, we trademarked it hot salad water. 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
It's like a lukewarm to room temperature water.
Okay.
Put it in a shaker and just sip on it all night. It'll save your throat.
It's awful though.
You can
but
have
it
a
does
cold.
work.
It'll save your throat.
Hot salad
We
water.
call it hot salad water.
And it's how many parts apple cider vinegar?
3 tablespoons.
3 tablespoons, and then
24 ounces of water.
20.
Like or like 16. Just like a healthy glass of water.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. And you just you cook that up and you let it simmer and then you sip on it and that
You
helps.
don't even cook it. You just like on the tap.
Okay.
Just like don't
Alright.
make it cold.
Just room temp like that.
It
I
is.
found that whiskey does the same thing.
It is absolutely terrible. But
At least to me.
Well, yeah, because it's vinegar.
we're
But if it works, it works. You
we're
know.
that's gonna be like our first branding thing that we do. Hot
What's that?
salad water.
Oh,
Chewy Center hot salad water.
you can buy it
There's-
at our merch table.
Bottled. Oh, gnarly, but you know, after you're done screaming at our show, here you go.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
it to work tomorrow. I mean,
Ah.
but it's interesting because when you say imposter syndrome, like when you hang out with people who do theater or in like opera, like there's such an extravagant like approach to the song structure and the vocal performance, and like I was just hanging out with a friend who does theater in New York, a new friend I should say, who does theater in New York, and like they would just like belt into a thing, and like I'm just like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like I wish I can just be like,
It's so different.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The mentality around singing is so different.
It's like everything, and I'm like, oh, can you do that minor third down, joking? And they were like, and they went
And they
into it.
go ahead and do
right,
it? Oh my
right. You know,
God.
like, but like coming from like the guitar singer songwriter thing, it's so timid and so control. Like comparing Bruce Springsteen to like anyone on like Rent, you're like,
Oh, man.
that's very conserved. You know what I mean? Like, and like I want to be that guy that can just roll and do all these fantastic like runs and shit. Like
Something
Yeah.
that like my friends who do theater,
Yeah.
it's like that they've responded with that is that
Yeah.
like they respect that like I can write something.
okay, fair.
And like I never thought about it that way, and it's like there are so many ways to like do the art of music, and there's
Yeah.
like, are you going to like take something like a pre-existing play or a song and just like rebuild it and like wrap it around you and make it yours, or like
Yeah.
are you making something from scratch or with a big band? Like there's so many ways to do it.
Right. Well, no, and I agree. I think every like Joe Strummer says, every music has its place. Like you can move that whole thing. Maybe if we move that mic forward, so you don't have to lean. You know what I mean? Move it over the table. So Joe Strummer's got this bit where you can fill up a stadium with like Miley Cyrus one night and like Metallica the next.
Yeah.
And like he said Creed or something, but like that being like and the more you learn about a practice, it's like the less you do says more. You know what I mean? So I never thought about it as like people who perform theater kind of interpreting someone else's work, because so much of it seems like it's just coming from them. But you're right.
And a lot of it is.
Yeah. But I can see where they would respect someone who can completely craft their own thing and commit to it. You know, there's kind of a comfort knowing that the material's good. Can I deliver it? You know what I mean? Like
Grass is always greener.
Yeah. And like it's harder to do like when you when you don't think of it like that. Like if you're just doing everything and like you write the song, now you got to be fully behind the whole thing. Where if you're taking in the performance of something else and just killing it, if you play a Charlie Parker song, it's gonna rip. You know what I mean? It's proven to be a hit. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna show musicality. But like if it's your song, you know what I mean? Well, now you gotta prove it. You know. So I never thought of it like that. That's pretty dope.
That is pretty cool.
That is cool. Now, kind of like to circle in a way. So like you guys are kind of found yourself musically. When did the church band happen? Like when did that like come into like all working on these instruments yourself, right? At least you for guitar. It sounds like, were you drumming at this point?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you meet each other through high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just
during music or just knowing each other?
We just knew each other because we were all at practice during music ministry, and then like we all had like little garage bands that we played at the talent show at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's when we actually were just like, hey, how are you? Like, do you want to jam this summer kind of thing?
Hey, sounds cool. Yeah.
So it was through playing in the church band through school, yeah? Okay. And like that, what was that like? That was like rock band setup, yeah?
Yeah, it was like...
We made it rock band setup.
We made it rock band.
So
yeah.
There was a teacher in charge of like the vocal chorus who had no choral directing experience, and he was just kind of like dancing and just like...
figuring it out.
Yeah, he was
having a time.
He was more a cheerleader, but he would get people into it. And then there was a teacher, Mr. DeRocco, who we called D-Rock.
And that's dope.
D-Rock was the teacher that had the acoustic guitar like behind his desk. And,
absolutely.
So he would kind of wrangle all the musicians, and like, we would all just show up and just want to play Enter Sandman because we were 16.
Right, and that's what you do with that thing.
Aww.
Yeah. So then he would kind of corral us all, but give us enough freedom to just be like, excuse me. He would be like, whatever you do, keep it in the song and like don't make it about you.
Good lesson.
About us.
But we also didn't. But then like there was always like, and after we were kind of like the veterans in music ministry, we would see like the kids come in who were like us when we started, who like they walk in, they turn on like the full gain distortion, and then someone has to come talk to them. Like we're just like rookies.
Yeah. But that's cool because there's cats to learn from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you ever take like homies inside and you're like, how do you do that? How am I going to get through this thing?
That's all rehearsal was. I mean, everything was like G, D, C, E minor, like and capo. that was pretty much every song. So if you knew, I kind of learned how to do arpeggiating that way, and like the simplest of leads. Like we always kept it like clean tones, and then
of course.
Did you bring your double bass ever?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what...
oh, my God, you brought me a beer.
Oh, of course I did. I love you, guy. But, no, like, at first, like, when, like, the drummer has to be... Like, once a song starts, the drummer kind of has to be, like, the backbone of, like,
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, like, because if the drummer fucks up, everyone fucks up.
Right.
Excuse my language, but...
You're good.
So like, it's one of those things. And, at the very beginning, I was playing super minimal, like, just 8 on the hi-hat, 2 on the snare, 3 on the floor, like 2 and 4 on the floor. Like it was the simplest you could possibly do. Right. And then after a while, I realized like this song could be a bop. Like, so, after a while, there were times where, like, I would just kind of take it, and, again, Mr. DeRocco, like, the rock star of, like, the music ministry, I guess, I think he was actually the one that said, like, we were the first, like, rock music ministry to do it. Like, we were the first ones to take it that way.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just like, this could be fun, and so I just mess around, and he just went, yes. And so I'm just like, all right, that's how I'm doing that from now on. Like it was
and we can't,
really, really cool.
We can't forget his trusty sidekick, Mr. Boris, with the Ovation guitar.
Well, absolutely not. He harmonized with himself.
What?
So
he
harmony by himself. No,
first of all, he was like, if the Ovation Guitar Company had a marketing meeting, they're like, who are we selling these to? This was the guy that
was the man.
They built
the guitar for.
Yeah, and like theology teacher. He was a really nice guy, but he had this voice, and when he sang, it was just so here's your show, like this. we
It
had
was
like,
very
he harmonizes with
noticeable.
himself all the time.
That was the joke that we would always make because he was always doing the harmonies.
Gotcha.
And Boris was just doing a 5-part harmony by himself. Like,
And D-Rock would be like, "There's no harmony here."
yeah, I beg to differ.
God, these characters are coming back.
Oh,
That's
I love
awesome.
it. Yeah, we used to make these jokes all the time. We love those guys though.
But no, that seems super crucial because
Yeah.
to hear something, attempt it, and have someone be like, "Yeah, what you did was dope."
Oh, he was
You know what I mean?
Oh, it was
That's-
fantastic, and it allowed us to be creative musicians in a fairly no, I'm not saying it's constrictive, but you're still at mass. Like you have to
Right.
keep that in mind. Like so, that kind of stuff. Like, but they still let us just go, and it
Yeah.
was really really cool that way.
Like at school, he would be really like formative as like a teacher and an administrator. But at music ministry, it was just nice that like an adult who wasn't your parent or
Yeah.
your teacher was, or like your music teacher was just like validating like musician to musician playing with you.
Right.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. No, because like just the know you came up with a thing and that was cool, and especially for someone who has quote unquote experience. You know what I mean? And like, because when you're in that, you don't, it's good to be around people who are way better than you because that's the only way you get better. But like, also, it's good to be around people that encourage that. Because sometimes people get burnt and they're like, whatever, it doesn't matter, kid, keep trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that be in that context where there is you are like in church, right? You can't be just fucking shredding Slayer.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So you got to play to the form a little bit and to know that you can do it in your own way. That's super important too, because now your voice matters not only to what you think matters, but also to the greater picture. So there's all this unspoken validation and acceptance. That's really cool.
It was a great time. I mean, we had fun with it.
Want to turn your mic towards you, like that? Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a great time. We had fun with it.
Yeah. No, you're good. Like you can move that whole stand.
Keep it a fist from your face, as Joe Rogan would say.
A fist from your face. All right. Well,
I don't even
That
know if
makes
that's true or
sense.
not. Joe Rogan just always tells his guests that.
yeah. Well, he's got the Shure SM157s with the
That's,
booster, so they can do that.
He's got that Spotify.
Either
He's
money.
got that
a fist or a
Spotify
joint's
money.
length away from the mic.
Fair.
Am I wrong?
But okay. So now through this makes sense why you guys would want to do your own projects because like you're getting like this support and an outlet to do it. Now, would this be like every day? Would you do this every day, or was
No,
this
once
Fridays?
a week, I thought it
Yeah.
I don't think it might have been at like bi-weekly.
Maybe bi-weekly.
But like we would all like we got to know each other that way, and like at Padua there was like all the sports teams and like the marching band, and the theater program was pretty big, but like I got to meet other musicians that I went to school with that way that weren't in like my immediate friend group. So it was like the first time I was kind of just getting to know other musicians, what they liked, how they played.
And okay.
At that point, I didn't care about the musicians more or less. I wanted to be the best drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
Kind of, sort of. That's kind of a joke, kind of real.
Well, no, I think that's healthy to want to like achieve like the best you can be to you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
No,
like,
I think me and another drummer at the school had like a healthy. We had a healthy
Yako.
rivalry. Yeah. We would always like. Again, all in like good fun,
Right.
kind of sort of, but like it was
Shout out
always
to
like
Tony Iacobelli,
yeah, Tony Iacobelli.
you hairy bastard.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy.
is he in the band? What's he
very
doing?
Italian.
I don't know. Just another Italian guy who went to Padua like us.
Yeah, but like the thing was like at that time specifically, he was very technical and I was very loose. So like because we were covering both ends of the spectrum,
Right.
it was like in the middle we clashed, right?
Yeah.
So like I was like doing all these like rock style like fills and stuff like that. And he was being super clean and like technical, and like we would just go back and forth like ha ha ha. Like so again, it was all in good fun, but I think it was a we had a healthy competition going.
That's good because
Yeah.
and to recognize it at that age to be like, oh, they're tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do
Oh,
I?
that's the thing. He was so much more technical than me at the time.
There's other people who play.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, I wish I were more technical sometimes. Like, so I still have like, my style and whatnot, but I've been working on, I'm gonna call it more on the, jazz style of playing that's very much just a lot of handwork.
Yeah.
And it's insane what some of these guys can do. So I've been trying to do some of that instead of being as loose. Like, I still want to be loose, but like, again, technical with that. Like, so it's just going back to the fundamentals, going back to the basics. But that's more or less what I've been trying to do recently, I guess. Still learning, always learning.
Right. Well, and going back to that and learning where looseness matters, where off the beat matters, where the slop fits and where the tight needs to be. Like, it's stuff you don't know at first because you just know how to do it. You're like, this is how it works. How do they do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's so much in between.
Right.
Like, that's the crazy part about it.
But so this is going on. You're jamming. You're putting together these kind of like I don't want to say church songs, but basically church songs, right? And they're all to the pop formula, and like when did the first offshoot project happen? Like, when did the first like group you made for the talent shows?
Okay, that's a good question. What are we gonna call the official like first offshoot?
When angels fall.
Okay, that's what I thought he was gonna say. That's
Did you think he would say it like that?
Not like that. No.
Okay.
It was a very high school like hard rock metal band name, like Flyleaf and Paramore. Like, we're just breaking out.
We thought we were so cool.
So
It's pretty cool.
We had a 5-piece. It was Ben, Nate, myself, the guy named Tyler who played lead, and this girl named Kayla who sang. So we did that for like maybe 6 months, and Ben and I both liked her, so that broke the band up.
Oh yeah, no, that got messed up.
Fleetwood Mac situation.
Yeah,
Yoko
it was
broke
not
up
good.
the band, and then Ben and I patched it up later, and then I'm the oldest in the band, so I was the first to go off to college, and like we would just jam over the summer, like.
And you went to
John Carroll
for music?
For business stuff.
Okay, business stuff.
It was accounting, and then accounting was too hard.
That's a lot of math.
Business
That's
management, and now I work for the Greater Cleveland Food Bank.
Dope. Do you know Phil?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh my God, such a small world.
Yeah. We can talk about him later.
Okay.
Phil's really
funny.
great.
Phil, I played in a band with Phil.
No way.
Yeah, I went to high school with Phil too.
Oh shit. Phil Trimble. That's crazy. But yeah, so like we'd get together over summers, and it was always the three of us, but like other people would rotate in and out.
Yeah.
And I'd say like when we were jamming in your not finished dining room, like on the.
Oh my God.
That was like the first time it transitioned from like that hard. It was like the middle ground between that hard rock stuff and like more like funk oriented music.
Well, that's the thing, because like when we were doing that, we also brought in a friend of ours who
We had a
played
trumpet
trumpet,
player.
Jason Wallman, and we did a cover of Superstitious.
Okay.
So I guess that would be kind of sort of where we started to veer from the super heavy stuff.
And then when
Gotcha.
I graduated, and then Ben was finishing up school. Nate just went right to work. So when Ben finished school, that's when we like had our first like, all right, now let's get together.
Gotcha.
And that was the real genesis of the Chewy Center. From there, that's like, if it falls, it falls.
No, I won't let it fall. I hit a lamp for the people listening, but it didn't fall. Okay, so that was the genesis of the first Chewy Center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, like it was really influenced by like the really tight, heavier jams of Humphreys McGee, like the Chili Peppers stuff, definitely there. And then like Nate and I were more into that world, and like Ben's not in that world, but I've always liked that about Ben's playing is that like he comes at it from a completely different world, but he finds a way to fit into it while still playing his own style. So that early trio of the Chewy Center was like this really funky but like heavy low end, and I was doing all this like disco strumming and high singing.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was kind of like our first sound, I guess.
It's like it's a weird combination of everything, and like I think that having all those different elements is what makes it you guys. It's what makes it, and like it's interesting because a lot of the heavy stuff is really kind of related to a lot of the lighter stuff. It's just how you look at it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is about the heavy stuff. Maybe it's just so upfront emotionally. Like I understand what they feel. And you can't listen to Nirvana and not get it a little bit. You may not know what he's saying, but
But you
feel it.
Yeah,
feel it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but so there's something that translates a little clearer when it's more like, this is it up front.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to like, this is it. What is that? You know what I mean? There's a little more kind of, so it makes sense why the heavier stuff resonates quicker. But it's interesting how it's all kind of the same thing, and it's finding that throughout. Like, oh fuck, the Chili Peppers guys, man, because like they're equally as punk as like.
Well, Chad Smith was
pretty
a hair
much.
metal drummer before that band.
Yeah. I like.
Smith, man.
Do you ever read Kiedis'
Will
book?
Ferrell.
I have.
Okay,
Big fan.
that's a great book.
This is
All right.
This is my black cat, little Jerry Seinfeld. You
All
can't
right,
see
Jerry
him,
Seinfeld's on the show, everybody.
But if you go follow
What's
DeFlo
the
Plays
deal
Guitar on
with
Instagram, you
airline
can
food?
definitely
No.
see pictures of Jerry.
He is the fuzzy center of the Chewy Center.
Oh, he's fuzzy.
He's the warmth in my heart. Yeah.
No.
That was perfect.
That worked.
Like sonically, how that lined up, that was amazing.
He knows.
Jerry's, where you at, bud?
Stealing the spotlight. That's where he's
Stealing the spotlight.
Getting into trouble.
So, like, when did like starting to write your own material? Was it just jamming and stuff came up, or would you bring stuff to the table?
When we
Dave?
started, I had a couple songs that I had written for a college band that didn't really go anywhere.
I mean, we started
And
pretty early though. Like
Yeah.
even when Angels Fall, like back in high school, we had some
back
originals.
Then, we had, and actually, there's a riff from like one of those heavy songs that we throw into a live jam.
Yeah.
Now, like when we do a live version of Murphy Girl, like we go into this like metal riffing that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's right. We got that in Murphy Girl.
yeah,
I forgot.
That's like the oldest riff we have.
Oh my god, that came from there.
Jerry, be good,
Oh, that's
please.
fun.
I was
Actually.
I'm distracted. I'm just not worried about
No,
Jerry. But
He'll
that-
chip at him.
come here, Jerry. Everyone listening is like,
He's a
cool.
socialite.
There's cats. All right. But like, so taking it from that into that, like, so the first album of stuff, like, did any of that accumulate from like, or any of that happen from these early like trio jams,
Yeah. Oh,
or was this more focused towards
So-
like when the group was kind of put together here? Like,
I
when we're-
brought 2 songs into Chewy Center like immediately that were from that old college band, but like we completely reworked them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first song we wrote was Papa Fuji. Like that was the first song as a band. And then there was another song. We had like a 4-song EP. And did we record that at Willie's?
Which yeah,
Meconium?
We did.
Okay. So we did that. But it was, if you listen to it, it's very light sounding,
Yeah.
which we just
yeah, it's different than the first album.
yeah, and we didn't know anything about recording. Like we didn't know about double
No, that was our
tracking,
first go.
Right.
anything. So then when we went and did the album, we added some more of that. But we're like, let's redo like our 3 favorite songs from the EP and put them on the album. Which, like, I'm glad we did, but I think like going forward, it's like we want to write new stuff because like the new songs we wrote for that record like really felt like an evolution. Like particularly Uncle Art's Weird Elk Party, Bubbler, Glow Stick Danny, Watchmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Like those were just like, oh, like we're at a new place now.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
took a step up.
So those songs, and we still play those songs live, and we love them, and like we create these really cool improvisation sections with them. And then that's kind of like that was that era of the Chewy Center, and then COVID hit, and we took a few months off. Come on, you got it. Yay!
All right, now it's like a normal
Cooking with
podcast.
gas.
Oh, this is perfect.
I got a normal podcast now.
He'll probably cry.
Let him.
I have
Well,
to get. Oh,
nope, he's gone.
nope,
He's gone.
I tried to get a picture.
But we'll get
then,
him.
Then right when we were finishing the full-length record is when. So Steve is like, I always wanted Steve to like be in our band, but he was always in a couple projects, and I never wanted to ask.
What else was Steve playing in?
Steve was in like a pop band called Inner Circle Avenue, which is still active, and then he's got
Is that cover band? I feel like I've heard the.
No, like this is they've got a really poppy sound, and Steve's
Okay.
like a sludge metal guy. Steve's into like jazz fusion and sludge metal and jam bands and all this crazy stuff. He's got a sludge metal band called Hamburger Lips. It's just like a 2-person band that he
That's
runs like
gnarly.
through multiple stacks.
Hell yeah.
So it was my fiance's then girlfriend it was her birthday, and Steve was playing at Mahal's in the locker room with Hamburger Lips.
Nice.
So we were just like, oh, cool, we'll see Steve's band, and they're like, we'll party for Alyssa's birthday. And, like, Alyssa's not, like, a hard partier. Like, she never gets drunk. But, like, it was her birthday, and she just, like, you know, decided to tie one off. And she knew, like, I always wanted Steve in the band, but, like, just wouldn't get around to asking. So at one point in the night, like, I turn around, she's gone. And by the time I find her, she's just drunk talking to him. She's like, Dave wants you in the band, but he's too afraid to ask you. And I was like, what? And Steve was just, like, red in the face, and I'm red in the face. I'm like, well, Steve's never going to be in the band.
Yeah, that's the last time we're hearing from him.
He was super, like, courteous about it. And like, I knew him from I grew up in Strongsville, so I just knew him through mutual friends, and we always talked music. But a couple weeks after that incident, I get a text from him out of the blue, and, like, I would never get a text from Steve. And he's just like, so is that still on the table? Or, so right at the end of recording Happy You're Here, we brought him in for one day, and he recorded keys parts for 4 of the songs, and I'm glad he did, because, like, that changed those songs.
Right.
Oh, the dynamic.
Completely.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He was on Uncle Art's Weird Elk Party, so he added that organ part, and that song would not be the same without it. Bubbler, he was on Papa Fuji.
Bubbler, Papa Fuji, Uncle Art's, and...
Centered.
What's it, Centered?
No, Cleveland Weather. Was he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
He had a piano in Cleveland Weather.
That's right.
So right there, like, he just came in the studio and, like, had ideas and just sat down and boom, had
he did
the part.
his freaking homework.
And we're just, we sat there and we just, I think we interrupted, like, his first track, and, like, I walked in, I'm like, you got it. That's it. I ruined it, but you got it.
It's so what was the recording setup like there? Was it like a studio? Was it a house studio?
So
was it like a...
Willie Tharp has refried audio out of Fairport Harbor, and it's a really cool room. He rents it out for practice space. He has a Dead tribute band and an original band called Pillars of Rome.
Okay.
So that's, like, this kind of his workshop business combo. So we just set up shop in there, and we lived there for 6 days. And we just slept on the floor and played Xbox, like, when we weren't playing. And
It was so funny.
like, we all just stank at the end of it. And our bass player, like, he can put his humanity away if it means, like, the band. So, like, we all, like, were just like, all right, I'm going to have, like, carrots and celery and hummus, and like, we're gonna have all this. And he works at Mark's. He's just like, I got Stouffer's mac and cheese in bulk and canned tuna, and this is what I'll eat for 7 days, so we can record this. And we're like, oh,
okay, that's what you gotta do.
We ordered pizzas and stuff too. And Willie was a great host, and we had gotten to know him a little more by that point. And we did have a lot of fun. And, like, even though, like, Steve's our producer now, like, Willie really coached us through, like, the genesis of being a band in a lot of ways. So, like, we're always grateful to him for that.
What was some of the, like, kind of, like, revelations from Willie?
So this isn't a revelation, but it's just fun. In the first song on that record, Glow Stick Danny, in the middle part of the song, there's a riff that goes dun 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 dun. So that first dun dun, there's a pool table in refried audio, so we're just like, we wanted to put some random, like, object, like, that made sound in the song.
You get the pool balls?
So he brought the thing out, and I remember him walking in, he was, watch this take like 3 hours. And we mic up the pool table, and then, like, we racked it up, and then it was the cue ball connecting to the racked balls. And then, like, you
hear it clacking.
You hear it, but then he isolated it and he slows it down. He matched the dun, dun. So you hear the, and then you hear all the balls. If you listen closely, you can hear the balls rolling around for the rest of that measure.
Damn. Okay, that's dope.
Like, we did shit like that. Like, it was just fun and creative, and I think we did double track some things, and Bubbler. Bubbler was one of our favorite songs, but when I was doing vocals on the last day, Willie had the idea to do a backing vocal, that didn't match the melody. So he was like, I don't know if he used this term specifically, but it was, I'm thinking a Beach Boys harmony behind you.
Like a counterpoint, like it's doing its own thing.
So it was just like, it was thirds that were just holding a note higher than the melody.
Okay. Yeah.
And I heard it in my headphones originally, and the guys were just like, "What is he?" They were playing Xbox. It was like, "What is he doing?" And then like they came back to the booth, and you just hear the like the and we all just looked at each other. It was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, no, it was some insane shit.
Like that elevated the song, and that kind of influenced us like in our live performances, because like we weren't doing shit like that live. So then Ben and Steve learned how to harmonize together to do that part while I sing the melodies.
Nice.
So that was another point where we felt like we kind of transitioned to a new chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Now we're doing like almost every song we're like, all right, cool. So like we could do a harmony here.
Yeah.
Like so it's
something considered all the time now.
It is, and it was something that we never considered before that. It's just one of those things that like it just brings like it sounds kind of like weird saying like, oh yeah, we never did that, we didn't need it, but like it's another element completely, and like it changes the vibe like totally, and it's just. I like my harmonies.
No, for sure, and like it just makes it more melodic. It makes it more of like a recorded production. You know what I mean? Like harmonies is something like when someone's in the studio and spends time, you hear like, oh, the keyboard player that's not in the band, you know, or you hear like the extra percussion, then you hear the harmonies.
Right.
You know, maybe that doesn't happen live. So if you can do it live, you know, it's even better because that's gonna take you.
Oh, when you see that live, you're just looking at them like, damn.
I know,
like, it's
right?
really cool.
Like Grav, like we were talking about them a little bit.
We
Man,
love those guys.
Same, they're fucking so good, and like how they harmonize, it's like next level. Like
they're disgustingly talented,
and they shred, they harmonize their shreds. Like
Oh, it's so good.
but like so going through that, like so a lot of it, like these production things that you never thought of before. Was kind of like the Willie enlightenments or Willie revelations.
And,
that's what I said.
He kind of got us to that point, and then when Steve joined the band, Steve was starting his production career, so like it just made more sense to have Steve like try his hand at it.
Yeah.
And we did a cover of Funkadelic's Red Hot Mama.
Yeah, which is super dope. So so that was now talking about the new stuff, right?
Yeah, this is like the 2021 material, I guess.
Right,
'cause it's
and
been kind of spread out.
the first cover was the Red Hot Mama, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
and like
All right.
it was. I mean, Steve's a metal guy. He had only produced metal before that, so
Yeah.
if you listen to it, it has a metal sensibility.
The
okay.
style of mixing.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what? It works really well because the vocals, when you get into the chorus,
Yeah.
like the harmonies he had you do.
What was it? I think that might have been Steve.
It actually was Steve. Steve's in the background doing the harmonies, I believe.
Steve's a great singer too.
Oh, he's really
Okay,
good.
yeah, because that was super rad, and like just how they were mixed. Okay, now you say metal, I guess I hear that, but it was like a rockin' like Hendrix rendition. You know what I mean? Like or if someone modernly covered like a Hendrix song now, I'd imagine it'd be like that. Even though I know it's funkadelic tune, but like you know what I mean? Like just where would you put harmonies in a song like that? Right there. How would you do it? Well, you would want to put it like that. Like. That was like the first listening. So I listened to everything in order, right? I'm like, oh, that's
Nice.
different. That's different. This is like a turn of the page. So like,
Yeah.
And I love Funkadelic, and like that. I've always wanted to cover that song with the band, but we never had.
That's a crowd pleaser.
It's
live.
a
good one.
We
People love that one.
We just played Winchester and we encored with that. I think.
With who? Was this a bad vocal night or is this a
No,
different gig?
no, this was very recently. We were really grateful how the night went. Erie Waters was on the bill out of Painesville. Unfortunately, they had an illness and they were not able to play. And they're our brother band. We love them. But then we had a band out of Detroit called Act Casual.
Okay.
That were kind of like they're a Fish lineup, but like it's kind of like a 70s like jam rock sound. They were great. Then we played, and then we have our friends Taylor and Monica. They have it's like a looper band called Ebb and Flow.
Okay, I've read their name. I see their sticker everywhere.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They just like
They're good.
it's kind of like that Mark Rebier thing of like the improv like dance music, but they're kind of giving it like this chill dub like festival kind of vibe. And it used to be just Taylor, and then Monica joined the band, and like Monica's really like when you talk to her, she's just very like soft spoken, but like when she's doing like the improv looping with the vocal, she's hilarious.
Oh, it's great.
Like she's just like
Fantastic.
Just comes to life.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I mean, like she's it's not hilarious in like a bad way. Like just like the topics she just chooses to loop. Like it's so funny, and like it's so fun to dance to. I think there was a there were a few people doing flow who started during our set, but they stayed like the whole time, and like
Hell yeah.
they're like ideal flow art music. So
that makes sense. Ebb and Flow.
yeah. I'm sure that was intentional.
All right. Well, nice. Okay. So yeah, but that song, Red Hot Mama slaps. Like the go back, and you guys did an incredible job.
Thank you.
Covering it and recording it. The kind of like before we leave completely the first record, at the end there's an acoustic track. Is there who's singing with you on that?
That's my fiance Alyssa.
Oh, okay. She shreds on that shit. Did she do the Rihanna one too? Or
No,
Rihanna?
That's another artist.
Rihanna, not Rihanna.
Real
Rihanna.
quick, so
Fleetwood Mac.
Alyssa Whitten, my fiance, she has a musical theater background as well, and we don't do it enough. But sometimes, like, I'll just pick up the guitar and we'll sing and like we'll jam and she'll harmonize and
That's sick.
Just picks it up immediately.
So I was kind of thinking about it, but then the guys actually brought it up as an idea, and they brought it up as an idea with a different song, and I'm like, that's not the right song. They're like, what are you talking about? And then I portrayed that song as an acoustic. They're like, oh yeah.
Right. Okay.
It works so well by itself, stripped down, and I wonder,
It's great.
What was it? Was it just a kind of like, oh, we have this person that can sing harmony. What should we do? Or like, did you always kind of hear that or did you write it acoustic?
No, like, no.
Because that was Fuji, right?
Yeah, like it was written as like an electric guitar riff, but just I like to try to recreate our songs as acoustics.
Okay.
Just like it doesn't work with all of them, but like especially with the ones that you don't think it's going to work, it's a challenge to try, like a composition kind of challenge.
Yeah.
So that was one that like I always love playing, and if I'm just jamming on an acoustic by myself, like I love doing that riff in the acoustic style.
It works really well by itself,
Oh,
and then
works so well.
the
I love that
harmonies hit extra hard. Like well, okay. How did you guys meet? You and your fiance, like.
Okay, Cupid.
Oh, really? Nice. And it was both into music. Okay, so is there? Does she have any other music outlets?
So like I said, musical theater. She got her degree in that.
Yeah. Where'd she go? BW?
She went to Akron.
Okay.
And she's done a bunch of productions, some semi-professional stuff, some community theater stuff. She's kind of put that on the back burner right now, just like going back to school, but that's something that's always going to be part of her life. She wants to do some kind of like music education, like theater education organization with kids one day.
Nice.
So yeah, that's how that song worked out. And we love how that turned out. Like, that was just fun for like we're all really excited about that. It's just like a nice little tack on the end.
Yeah.
Of the
Yeah, no,
record.
and it brings out another like, you're like, whoa, that melody, everything stands out really. It makes like when you take certain stuff away and just see the bare bones of a thing, you're like, oh, that's really strong. You know what I mean? Like, and if you can put it, it's like taking the cream and sugar out of coffee. You're like, that coffee's still fucking strong. You know what I mean?
Still
Like
coffee.
It's
yeah.
still coffee. That could have just done it. You know what I mean? But like when you do it right after, like at the end of the record, you're like, that, you know, it's a good way to accentuate what you just heard in a way, and like kind of go back to listening to the two formats of it. So that was really cool. And
Thanks
I think
for
that was
saying
a
that, man.
perfect
Appreciate
song
it.
for like listening through and hearing an acoustic take. I'm like, I'm sure other ones could have worked, but that one works really, really well. That's really cool that you can just whip out harmonies and stuff. That's super dope.
All her, not me.
Yeah, but like you got like that's hard, right? Harmonies are hard.
They are.
Like when you get the like one pitch and you stack the third, and you're like, okay, I can rationalize that. But when you harmonize with a melody, and like for me, I'll get that first note. I'm like, okay, usually want to do third, sometimes a fifth or fourth if you want it to be like more. I don't know, in more of a rock context, but like.
That's actually a really great segue because the next thing we released was the cover of Rhiannon with Sammy Lee. And if you know Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac, you know in the chorus there's just that wall of harmony.
Oh, it's so good.
And
you guys got that down.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, that's it.
That was such a challenge. And
that was rough. Yeah.
The vocalist we worked with on that, her name is Sammy Lee. We met her through doing Spunfest. She's become a really good friend of ours.
Where was Spunfest at?
Spunfest 1 was out at Coyote Grove, and now it's down at a state park in Perrysville.
Okay.
So now it's become more of an established thing. That's we had so much fun at that
Oh,
festival.
so fun.
When we're not like big campers or anything.
Yeah.
At least I'm
Speak
not.
for yourself.
Neither
I
am I.
love camping.
Ben knows what he's doing. I'm a house cat. But we had so much fun. So we had this idea to like work with another Spunfest artist to do a song, and then we wanted to release it at Spunfest.
Oh, that's cool.
So we started working with Sammy, and she did a really good job. She came to the practices, and like we kind of found the vibe. The thing I like about her vocal is that she's kind of this cross between like the Billie Eilish like ghosty kind of sound with like, but she also has like country twang. And something that I'm really proud of her that she's like learning about herself now is that she has a really good projection too.
Okay.
So when we were doing the recording process, that was starting to come out, and she did her melody parts, and then we came in after and did the harmonies. And when Ben got in the booth to do the C part,
Oh my God!
like we're all it's just quiet,
Yeah.
and then Ben just starts doing scat
It was
man.
okay. So like, let me paint this picture real quick because this was funny, right? So obviously, like the way that we record, we do like all the instrumental first,
Right.
So we do drums and we do bass and we get to guitar and then we go to vocals, and yeah. So like obviously, Sammy was the first to do her vocals. She's the lead, and she's the one that came in first, and then Steve is the one doing all the production, so he's obviously involved. But
And
then
is that all here?
no,
It's at
it's at
Steve's
Steve's
house.
place. He's
Okay.
got a setup. He's got a rig.
Sick.
So then after Sammy was done, me and Dave went over Steve's to do like our parts of the harmony, and Dave goes first, and he does all his stuff. It takes, I don't know, like it takes time to do that. I think it took like maybe like an hour or so. And then it's like, all right, cool, Ben, you're up. And like we're just at this point, we're just kind of going through the motions, right? Like we're just singing the parts, we're just doing our thing. I get
It's
up
like,
to the
Ben,
mic.
keep your diaphragm expanded.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're talking
drink some
about, like,
water.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. We're still talking music, right? And
He goes in the booth.
so yeah, I go up in the booth, and so like I got the headphones in, and like at that point, like I'm the only one listening with Steve. I don't think you didn't hear, right? You were just kind of in the quiet, yeah, but like you didn't hear. He didn't have headset, so like Dave's just sitting there in the quiet, and me and Steve are listening, and it comes down to like bam 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 bam, like so like it gets to that part, and like we're all just like we're waiting for it, and like me and Steve are listening to the music, and all of a sudden like bam 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 bam, like
It was so loud, and it just filled the house, and we just pissed ourselves laughing.
oh, it was like just so out of the blue, and like
and
it
then
was
Steve
oh my
isolated
God.
it and like used it
Oh,
for
it was
like
so fun.
Then he used it for memes like later on. It's like, and he would just like change the times. It was like get it up on the bed.
It was so good.
That's awesome.
Sweet Jesus. I think we were like laughing about that for a good like half hour, if not more.
That was a really long, dumb
Oh my
side
God.
story, but we're happy we said it.
No, it's about the certain things with comedy is all the timing. So the most inappropriate thing that happened in that moment would have been that.
And it was so good because like there is a meme that like starts off with like everything's going over like everything's going on, everything's normal, then all of a sudden you're just and then like an explosion goes off and you're like, dude, what? Like
If you've made it this far in the podcast, that part was for us.
That-
oh, absolutely.
Are you hip to the Scatman's history?
No.
Wait, the
You know-
Scatman?
Yeah, you know the song The Scatman, right?
Oh,
The song is currently on
Yeah.
our wedding playlist.
Nice.
I'm
So,
the Scatman.
right? That guy was like a
Scatman John.
legit
Oh, he's
jazz
so good.
musician.
So
like
good.
he was a legit jazz musician who had well he somehow he got hooked up with these techno guys because it's kind of a techno song, and that was like when that was like
Yeah.
really taking off.
I think he
and like,
was like yeah, like you said, he was like a legitimate jazz musician.
yeah, he's a pianist and he would scat.
But the thing was, he had a stutter.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
so like when he was just talking to people, he was stuttering. He figured out when he was doing like scat music, he never stuttered.
Right.
And
Or-
so like he's just like, I can use this. And so yeah, he like you said, you got in touch with all these like people that are doing like more modern style music, like the computer generated sounds, and he did scat over it, and it was just what?
Yeah,
It was
like
so good.
I'm pretty sure it was a manager thing they put together and
Oh,
and like
that's
it became a
awesome.
hit, and like there's a follow up to it. There's a few.
There's
like
a follow-up?
there's a song, and you gotta look this up, called "Welcome to Scatland," or
Oh my god.
or it's something like that, and it's so goofy because it's just like. Because that whole experience was a super. Because he had this like not lisp stutter, and he didn't fit in. But that song made him huge.
Oh,
so he and he even had a TV show, I guess. But
what?
like yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this.
I don't know if it's available online.
We're
but,
about
like,
to take a dive.
You gotta take a dive down Scatland, and it's like. And like the next one was Welcome to Scatland or something like that, and like he like because this was such a positive like thing, so it's all encouraging. It was like follow your dreams and shit, and it's so fucking dope.
Oh
and that
my
was a hit
God.
too.
He just he's just like, I'm trying to make a flub. I can't. They're just all hits.
He's like, I'm trying to. No, he was trying to spread like you just do your stutter, become who you are type thing, and
That's
like
so cool.
it's super beautiful. And like the video is just like where people can like you gotta see it. You gotta see it and get back to me because it's so ridiculous.
We will
Wait,
do
isn't
our
there like a
homework.
line in Scatman though? Like, it's let's see if I can remember the lyrics. Hold on. I had this.
Beep,
It was
bop, bop, bada, bop. Bada, 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 bop.
Yeah, that one.
couldn't have said it better. It was everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, brother, so can you. And I was just like, damn.
I'm troubled by how much you know of that song.
Oh, I memorized all the lyrics at one point.
That was
Love
that
that
was
song.
on point.
Oh my god.
But Rhiannon,
You guys got to
Who?
cover the Scat Man.
Oh my god. We got to find a scat.
You got what you got to do. What you got to do is you got to do it metal. You got to go back to your metal roots.
the vocoder.
Oh. The vocoder. Oh my god, we can do. Oh my god. Hold on. We may have just hatched an idea.
Do you want to be a part of it? You want to feature?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
We're gonna make this happen.
I don't know.
Oh
what
my
this-
God,
I don't
that's
know what
so
I've gotten myself
funny.
into right now. But anyway, so Sammy. So going back to Rihanna.
Sammy was great in the studio, and then like I think once she got to hear like, because Sam's a new artist,
Yeah.
and newer to performing,
Yeah.
Up and
But
coming.
when we were doing the actual show, like we did 2 sets. We did Friday night and Saturday night, and Saturday night is when we were gonna unveil Rhiannon to like on the main stage, and
Yeah.
then the next morning it would release. And then like 2 hours before we were supposed to set up, it was like Sam's set and our set were both gonna be like on the main stage, like headlining it, and it starts to rain, and like emotions are high, and like
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out what's going on, and like it's a very like tight knit group who runs Spunfest, so it was just wild, and we were just like, is it gonna happen? And then for a brief moment, the rain stopped enough. We just go grab all the tailgating tents. We make a canopy over the main stage because there wasn't one.
Okay.
It was just like everyone came out of the woodwork. It's like drizzling. We're getting set up. We're like, are we gonna get electrocuted?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? And then like right before Sam's set, the rain stops and everyone comes out of their tents and they all come to the
Nice.
main stage. And Sammy did like, I've backed her a few
Nailed
times, like been her backing guitarist a few times.
Yeah.
She had like the best set solo I've ever seen. And then her last song was with us, Rhiannon, and then we did our set. And like it was, as a performer, like when you were starting,
Yeah.
like your first few, like, but one of your first shows, just it's for the stars align, you kill it, like you're just having like an out of body experience, like you're just like, I nailed it.
Right.
We got to watch a friend of ours, Sam, do
yeah.
that.
Have
And it was
that.
such an honor to be on stage with her
Oh, it
while
was
she was doing
so
it.
cool.
Like she had the crowd in her hand. Like it was just really cool to see an artist that we're close with. Like we just witnessed like a metamorphosis.
Right.
It was so cool.
Especially when it's that early, when it's the first time like
And it
a
was-
good show happens.
And it was like the rain and like
Yeah.
the wet, like everything was going wrong, and then everything came together and this amazing performance happened.
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
And then the next morning, like everyone wakes up, it's on Spotify. Like it was
Nice.
just a cool
Hell yeah.
kind of thing.
That's a super good way to like follow it too, That's a good release strategy. Oh, that's so cool. We had like Sea Level. We had one good rain show. We were playing this outdoor. It was like a mini amphitheater, right? And it was in Brecksville. No, it was in Brecksville. I can't remember where it was at. But like, so in most bands that play there are like cover bands, you know. So it's bigger, but it's like they had one night with original music. It was us all over the place. Are you hip to those guys? Okay, West Metal's group, the Bears. Wait, it's not the Bees and the Bears.
They did great this season.
The Bears.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Sorry, Dad.
I'm trying to remember what I always say it wrong. It's not the Bears and the Bees, but it's the Bees and the Bear. It's gonna come back to me. But
edit it in later with like a robotic voice.
the Bees and the Bears.
It's about time we talk about the Bears and the Bees.
Bears and the Bees, but it wasn't the Bears and the Bees. It was just the Bees and it was the Bears. Fuck! God damn it. Maggie, it's like the second podcast I ever did was with her. But anyway, they played and Flip Coin, which is this really dope duo band that they would switch instruments and they would
Cool.
Nice.
But like when it got to our set, it started to rain and I'm like, oh, everyone's gone. Like this is it. And this was like halfway through it, you know? But the coolest thing happened is everyone got close to the stage, to the lip, and stood under the rain. Like
That's such a good
It was so
Awesome.
cool, and like it was the best result because now everyone is with us in the thing, you know, as opposed to like, see ya.
Yeah, standing out in the outskirts.
Yeah, it was so cool. So sometimes
awesome.
that magic rain bit happens.
And that's what you live for when
Right.
you do live music.
Right.
You live for those like handful of performances that are just going to be out of body. Like,
Absolutely. Having a mental orgasm on the front side of the stage. Like, it's fantastic.
I was trying to say it more elegantly, but same idea.
I was right. The Bears and the Bees.
The
Bears and the Bees. I don't know why that really threw me, but the Bears and the Bees.
wives, but you can never take the Pacer fitness test. Sorry, I don't know why that's what came to mind when you said the Bears and the Bees. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But that band's
sorry.
dope. They have these awesome harmonies and shit. Super cool group. But okay, so with this with these releases, like you were telling me, they're coming out every couple weeks, and like, are they all covers? What's the angle of it?
No,
because Easter, that's original, right?
Yeah, so Rhiannon was the first one of those, and
I thought
Rhiannon's part of like the EP as a whole, but that was just like we put that out first because we wanted to like do like the Spunfest kind of artist collab.
Yeah.
And then Easter came out shortly after, and Easter is very much like, we call it our radio rock song, because it's different than a lot of our songs, but it's also very jam band in its DNA.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun recording that and playing it. We love playing it live. And then our most recent one that dropped is called Fruit Flavored Perfume, and something I've been getting into a lot, especially this summer, is like Aor Rock.
Okay.
Like American stuff from like the 70s and 80s, but also there's like this huge Aor is like album oriented rock.
Yeah.
Like Journey, Toto, Foreigner, like that genre. There's a huge scene in Scandinavia that's like thriving of that specific sound.
Huh.
And like they just kind of keep reinterpreting it and like bringing in like more modern production to it.
Yeah.
So one band in particular, Night Flight Orchestra, one of my favorite bands ever. Got into them a lot this summer. They kind of have like that Foreigner, Toto, Styx kind of vibe.
Okay.
So I was listening to that, and like I really wanted to I wanted us to write something that was somewhere like between that and jam band rock. So Fruit Flavored Perfume came out of an improvisation based on riff, and it's one of our favorite songs. It's super high energy. I'm really excited for like all the jam explorations we're going to be doing with it this winter. And that song's also like really personal to me because it's about I have diagnosed OCD. Mm-hmm. So that song is about going somewhere, going to a party, and just like freaking out about all these things that are happening in the world. It's more about anxiety in general.
Yeah.
But then you're noticing like the people around you at the party are fine and like they're not freaking out about things, and you're like, how the hell are you not?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that mentality, but and kind of just like changing personalities at that party, and that's the idea of the song. So the song's really personal to me.
Right.
But it's also like this hard rock AOR, this like thumping kind of beat.
Yeah, it bumps.
And it's my favorite solo transition we've ever done. Like we this keys solo into a guitar solo. Ben just nailed the drums. Like everything just clicks in that song. And Nate sucked. No.
Yeah, the bassist. Let me tell. No, I'm kidding.
Let's talk about bases. Hold on. No, let's air this out. We're going to air out. Anyway.
Don't edit this out.
No,
That's our most recent thing. And then we've got, when we release the EP as a whole, it'll have one more new track on it.
Okay.
And then we're going to kind of go in the conclave and write some more stuff.
So when's the EP release as a whole?
We don't have a direct date, do we?
We're getting, Steve's finishing the mix.
Yeah.
He was not able to get it done before Thanksgiving. We're going to get it by Monday, he said. And then it'll come out before Christmas.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
little later than we intended, but Steve got married, so
Gotcha.
we
Yeah,
had
that's
to
gonna-
let him have
So
a
it's his
major
fault.
life event.
100% his
Steve.
fault. Yeah, I know.
You just had to like live your life.
Yeah, I know.
Had
Well,
to
you know,
go.
I guess priority, whatever.
So with like if you don't mind getting into it, like OCD, does like the music aspect of it help? Kind of like, did it help? Like, was this how did it become like? When did you notice it was like a problem? Like,
When I was 18,
yeah,
I accidentally started a fire
yeah,
in my neighborhood that like no one got hurt, no
Yeah.
house got damaged, but it was we had a bonfire in my backyard in like a portable pit.
yeah.
And overnight, like I filled it with water, and then like my friend slept over, and then the next morning I went to drop him off at his house, 15-minute round trip, and I dumped the portable fire pit, all the soaking embers. I dumped them on the side, like in the rocks by my house,
Okay,
and apparently the embers and in the center core of those were still going. And I came back and there were 2 fire trucks on my street putting out like my whole neighbor's fence. And that neighbor was a dick too. like fuck him, but yeah, that. And then after that, like I've been really funny just about like checking the knobs on the oven, checking the locks
okay.
on the doors. Like it's
Is that what kickstarted it?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. That's
Okay.
it started there.
That's interesting.
So it's like I know about like it's, I know
Right.
why, and I've come like a long way in certain aspects, but there's also a lot where it's like I'm still trying to like get more of a hold on it.
yeah,
But it's really around like locking doors. There's a line in the song that goes, "I don't know how you do it, keeping up your state of mind. I checked the doorknob twice. I checked the lock 3 times." And it's just about that, where it's just
Yeah.
like leaving for work in the morning sometimes is a real pain in the ass.
yeah. But that's fucking traumatic, my dude. Like, to like just think you're putting something out, you know what I mean, to come back to, even if the guy was a dick, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's the whole thing, and like I think the guys will tell you like sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed about just like confirming things and making sure like everything's aligned in a way. But
We've come
like,
to terms with it at this point, though. I mean, that's part of the
that's part of friendship, and
part of the routine.
I appreciate you guys for understanding that
No, we
about
got
me.
you.
But yeah, so this not all of our songs are like about me or my experiences or any of us in our own experiences. Like
Yeah.
some are stories, but that was like one of the first times like I wrote lyrics where it's like this is something I go through.
yeah, that's
So
cool.
It was nice. It was different.
Yeah. Was there like a relief to that? I'd
Um,
imagine, being able to like express it in a way.
It's more of an acceptance.
Okay.
Like I'm just like this is part of me, and like now it can be part of my art too.
Because like I think I talked with Pete Francis of Dispatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh shit.
And
Oh,
nice.
he was telling, he had this bit about how he dealt with his he kind of has a what's the word, I'm just forgetting shit today, bipolar.
Yeah.
He has some
kidding.
like, yeah, some, but not like in the sense where I don't know personally, but what really helped him was kind of accepting it and learning that it wasn't like for himself, learning that like his mental state isn't like it isn't an end all, but it's just a thing. You know, this is how I am, and this is how I work around it. It's not like a death sentence or something, a final notice where like everything's over because now you got to hyperfixate on this thing to figure out how you work. But it's just learning, accepting that, and learning how to make it work for what you want to do. It's like a rephrase of like how to look at a thing, and I was like, that's really profound. Like.
That's a crazy thing, actually, because Dave just went through the the anxiety issues that you go through and like the OCD and whatnot, and like I don't think any of us don't have an issue of some sort. It's really interesting.
We all have some cocktail of something.
Like we all have these like different mental like, and like not in a bad way, but like mental things that we have to go through. Like, I have anxiety. I don't have OCD, I don't think, but like, I have anxiety. And Nate, has his own hills he's got to battle. Steve is allergic to everything, so he's got that all the time.
Steve's allergic to like 6 things. Like, if we take him certain places, he'll explode. Like, we have to be careful.
So
we can't do the house gig. Like, sorry,
but like that's just the thing. Like, and I think because of I don't know, just how like weird and broken we are. Like it kind of just all culminates into this like awesome,
sarcastic,
absolutely dark. Like just awful greatness. So
is that the Chewy Center? Did we get to the Chewy Center?
It's part of it.
We may just have
like we're a jam band, but like we never felt like we're part of like the jam band's like very much like a interconnect, and we're part of it, and like we've been welcomed by many people, and like we have a lot of fans in that world, and we friends, and we love those guys. But like we never felt like those like people who are in that subculture.
I would argue we still don't feel like that, because I don't.
Yeah, I don't, but I feel like we're welcomed there, but I don't feel like we live there.
Those are some of our people, but like in terms of mentality, at least me specifically, because I think I'm one of the most. No, Steve might be the most estranged, but one of the most estranged to like jam rock or jam band culture. Steve definitely has me beat, but
the thing that irks me about it is like the whole. It's like everything's good vibes. Like we're all good vibes.
We're the bad vibe
and we joke we're like we're the bad vibes jam band.
Bad vibes jam band.
Like I just it's so whenever I hear like somebody's like bad vibe, good vibes, energy, like. If you feel that way and like that's how you connect to the world, great. I'm not knocking you, or at least I'm not trying to. I'm sorry if anyone listening feels that way, but it's like my interface with the world has been a much different thing, but that also has inspired me in a lot of ways. It's very much part of who I am, and it's like I'm very much embrace all the goodness in you and like foster it, but also embrace the things that are like a pain in your ass and challenging and like your darker things, and you can learn from those things too. And like, if that can all work in harmony, you could have a good life. But yeah, it's just like, I'm not going to pretend everything's all good vibes, happy, hunky dory, like Grateful Dead teddy bears all the time.
No, I definitely agree. And like, like it's kind of like Bruce Lee has this bit about I don't pray for an easy life, but the strength to get through a hard one. And I'm super Bruce Lee nerd, so we can perseverate on this for a while.
That dude's a different breed, all right?
100%.
My God.
But like, it's like if you look at a band like the Ramones, like generally that music is it's punk, but it sounds pretty happy. There's not too many times like there's a minor chord in a Ramones song. If there is, it doesn't last long enough to hear it. You know what I mean? But each one of those guys had crazy quirks too, and they're the most dysfunctional group of people, but they came together to make some of the most like upbeat, like influential music ever. And like. And part of the time, I think like people maybe in the jam scene when they're seeing you, it is all good vibes because right now, it's a good time. And like, I feel like it's a good generalization to be like, I enjoy that, you know what I mean? But everyone's got their own weird thing they're going through, like their escapism to be there and be in the good vibe. They're not gonna, bring it down. And like, cause we kind of get that vibe too. Like Sea Level, we played some festivals and stuff, but probably not as many as you guys, you know what I mean? Like, and like, at least, like we fit in that jam realm, but we also don't. And like, but I'm totally like, I
love riding that vibe.
Absolutely.
That line. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. Because
walking
like
it hard.
walk hard.
Walk hard.
But it's a beautiful thing because like everyone in that scene's open. Like what's cool about the jam scene is like you can be like, if you look at how old Les Claypool is, or some of the older bands that are playing
right.
Grateful Dead music, they would not get the light of day anywhere else. You know what I mean? At least there's a group that's genuinely accepting music, not the person.
There's a space where it's just like, it's all about the music and like the energy you create.
Right. And but also, there is some like typical things you fall into, like you were talking about before. Like, so it's everything in life is in balance, right? You can't have good shit unless you have the shitty shit. And like when the shit's shitty, it's gonna be even better later, but you got to be in the shitty shit. And when the shit's good, it's gonna get shitty. So ride the good shit,
Yeah.
It's a weird. That was my like high school like life lesson. I remember having a house show in the garage at my house, and I think it was West Meadows was there. I think we did a lot of house shows with all over the place. And Dan Pickler, and it wasn't the best turnout. And we played a bunch of really good house shows, and I'm like, oh, this one's a bummer. But I was like, kind of like, well, we get all the bummer shows. You got to play all the bad shows for the good shows. And it was just a weird like realization I had like in like 9th grade or whatever. Like, yeah, we got to keep doing these shitty shows so we have that one good one.
The fact that you like came to that realization in 9th grade, though.
Yeah, no
like,
kidding.
Yeah.
We were like 25 when we came to that realization.
Oh yeah, we wanted to play stadiums by the time we were 18. Like
That would be dope.
it would be dope,
That
but it
would
doesn't
be.
happen very often.
Yet,
That's such an important mindset, though. Like, some of the best local shows I've seen have been like 10 people in the crowd.
Right.
And the band just like
easily.
doesn't give a shit. And then you go see them again, and it's like they're playing to 150, 200 people who are rocking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it's like, they earned it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. And like, what you talked about earlier, being like in the scene that everyone's cool and like supportive and creative. It's cool when you get to see your homies' work pay off for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's badass that I'm trying to think of
Among the Willows, they were
yes,
broke
yes,
yeah.
they're awesome.
They're getting some traction, like,
And they're amazing.
They're the nicest people.
Oh, we
they're
love
killer
them.
musicians. Like,
And
I just love seeing them. Like, they're starting to get noticed, like beyond Northeast Ohio.
Right, and they deserve it.
Yeah,
It's so
They
cool.
deserve it. And that guy, I can't think of
John Lawful.
His guitar tone is so fucking good.
It's painfully good.
That's
Disgustingly
Stevie Ray
good.
Vaughan as fuck.
They're
They're so rad.
I love the Cleveland music scene just because and maybe other cities are like this, but it's like there are so many different subgenres that all support each other, and they can get away with being on the same bill.
Right.
But like, I don't know. It's just there's a really good supportive network of musicians that go to each other's shows, and
Right.
like, we have a guy in a sludge metal band playing keys in a jam band, and but like he's 100% himself in both instances. Like,
Yeah.
shit like that. It's
Or
cool.
even just like I did a week long benefit for a teacher no one had. I asked you guys had that gig, and like, which is totally fine. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to encroach in that, but like,
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. I love that you do that, and we want to.
Oh, I know you guys did. Like, I do.
We want to make it happen sometime. Some cause, like, that is one of the coolest things happening. And
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Props to you for doing that.
And I know, like, I know you guys would if you could have. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that would if they could have. And like, doing a benefit thing, that's the most I can ask for is a response. You know what I mean? Like, so like, but like, just even seeing a whole city for a whole week give a shit about a teacher they never had, and a baby they're not probably gonna meet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it highlights that even more. You know what I mean? Like, we made $3,801 for the, you know what I mean?
I love that denomination. Just three.
I don't know why it was one, but it was. That's the
perfect.
final.
I love that.
Someone donated $1. Fuck, we'll take it. Thank you.
Every little bit helps.
But you know what I mean? Like in a community that can support that and get behind that. And so it just musically in the fun part, that's just the music part, it's totally going to blossom. And like, I don't know, we're definitely lucky to be, you know, around people that care and support and like in an environment where you can cheer your homies on and not be like, why aren't I getting attention out of Northeast Ohio? What the fuck? You know, they changed their name. That shouldn't happen for them. You know what I mean? Like, we've been rocking this forever. You know what I mean? Like, you can easily get in that mindset, but
Cleveland and just the Rust Belt in general is like, what somebody I work with at the food bank pointed this out. It's like,
was it Phil?
They love. No, it was not Phil. Phil's great, but
it was not him.
We love, as much as we love to shit on this city and this like we have this like Northeast Ohio Cleveland attitude. Like when the shit hits the fan, we're like the first as a people. Like we want to help.
Yeah.
Like even when we disagree, like we want to help. Like at the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, when all the people started getting laid off, and needing like food assistance for the first time in their life, the crazy amount of donations that came in.
Yeah.
Like one thing I like to say that like most people don't know, one of the first giant checks that came in after the shutdown started, Baker Mayfield, like immediately just like, here you go.
Oh, that's dope.
Like
that is super
one of the
cool.
first big checks. Like just that's the attitude, and I'm glad that exists in the music scene as well.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're helping to curate that.
Well, you're part of it. We're all part of it, you know. Did you guys do anything with the Cleveland family meal?
No.
Okay.
What's that?
My friend Ryan, he's got his own restaurant, like a pop-up thing going on now. Fat Boy Sammy's. He did this thing called the Cleveland Family Meal with the Summer House restaurant, which is a spinoff of the Greenhouse. Like all the guys from there started this other thing. The shutdown happened, so they had all this food, and they would make all this food, and they would leave it in Akron and Cleveland. They had 2 stops, and it would just be for people who were out. And like I think they were getting donations from the food bank because Ryan knows Phil, and like
was Danny Waz working with that?
It could have been. I don't know.
Oh.
I only knew Ryan, but I knew it was just a badass thing that happened right from the rip.
Cool.
And they were cooking all day, cooking all this food they couldn't serve just to give out, which was super badass. So I don't know. We're super blessed to be in like doing cool shit and knowing like the thing we want to do, which is like organize sounds and like, but to kind of tie it up and wrap it up here because we've been going for a minute.
This has been awesome. This is our longest podcast ever.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
It's been super flowy. The only bumps we've had is moving the mic, and that's nothing.
Hell yeah.
Is there a Chewy Center? I was joking at it before when you guys were saying it's kind of everyone's mushy gooey shit that they're working through, coming together to make some tasty jams. But like, which should be on the wrapper for the Chewy Center candies you make that you sell at your merch.
Contains lead.
Contains lead. But is there a reason for like what is the Chewy Center?
Very quickly,
a fluke.
We did not know we didn't know what to call ourselves.
Yeah.
So we had like a group chat where we were just like throwing in joke names, and we had like almost 500 names. And when we had to pick a name, Chewy Center was none of our number one, but it was in all of our top 5. We just kind of liked how it sounded.
It's illiterate. It's got a, you know.
We were almost my favorite was the comedy roast of Jesus Christ.
Oh, that was fantastic.
But we kind of grew into the name.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like Chewy started because Nate, Ben, and I like not only love playing together, but we just love sending memes to each other and just like goofing off and hanging out. And when Steve joined the band, it was like it was like he had been part of that for the 10 years prior. Like he just fit in and
jumped right in and it worked.
I don't know if anyone else could have done that.
Yeah.
So I guess to me, the Chewy Center is as long as we're all friends and like having fun and just like poking fun at each other, and
I don't like you guys.
yeah. We have a Minecraft server.
We do.
We have a Minecraft server that the band operates, and we all kind of took on like the roles we are in the band. We took on in the Minecraft
Which is
realm.
way too funny. That was not
That's
planned,
sweet.
but it worked.
Like
That's awesome.
I'm the neurotic one organizing all of the materials. Ben is doing daring shit. Nate's off by himself building something beautiful and not telling anyone. And Steve's like, I made a machine that turns seaweed into experience points. Like,
It's some shit.
That's badass.
no, but like I couldn't. I know some bands are, you know, they're not always tight. Like they just come together for the music, and that's
Yeah.
great. But I've never, like, I can't imagine that for the Chewy Center. Like, as long as we're all tight and, you know, we butt heads, especially Ben and I. But
Oh yeah, from time to time we get at it.
Is it more musical? Is it more like show based? Is it like just getting to the gig type shit?
No.
Okay.
that and
That's how you
and
know it's
all of
real
the
friendship
above.
then.
But it's always, at the end of the day, it's always stupid.
Well, and the
much.
fact that you can rationalize it like that, you know, and that's the thing, to make this work, to make the band thing work, you're not going to get paid. You know, you got to enjoy, it's got to be like, I'm having fun making music with my friends, and that's what is shared. You know what I mean? That's what people pick up on, like, oh, these guys are having a good time. You know, like, I want to hang out with these guys because they're fun. Like, even when you watch, like, videos of the Beatles, they're fucking around. They're having a good time. You know what I mean? Like, they may all hate Yoko or whatever, but they're like, you know what I mean? They're having a good time. Like,
When
Oh,
we were-
that's awesome.
When we were at the Winchester this last time, like there was like space for me to walk up like on the platform next to the drum
Oh, that
kit.
was
There usually
cool.
never is.
Yeah.
So like I got to go up there and like I was just playing, and Ben and I were looking at each other, and I could just like hit the guitar and one of the cymbals. Like,
yeah, that's sick.
like
It was so cool.
Those little moments, and
Yeah.
like Nate being the mad conductor in the middle, and like Steve just adding all the crazy sounds. Like, we love doing it, and like we love that we're doing it together with these people.
Yeah.
I guess that's the Chewy Center to me.
100% agreed.
That's badass.
100%.
I think. Well, is there anything else you guys want to plug? Any shows coming up? I don't know. This may be more aimed towards the EP release.
Yeah, so we will be releasing the EP in full. So that's the songs we've released up till this point this fall, plus one new song. It'll be the L.L.C.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Nice.
So
Some community college.
the Chewy Center LLC will be out by the end of the year. It's on Spotify, Apple, all that. If you want to, see what we're doing, follow us on Instagram at the Chewy Center. We're the Chewy Center on all social media. So we're gonna get that music out, and then we're gonna spend winter writing some stuff,
Nice.
and then February, March, April, we're gonna creep back out into the scene a little bit.
Hit the scene
Beautiful.
hard.
Awesome. Well, we gotta do a sea level gig with y'all, and we gotta
absolutely.
put some stuff together. But
We would love to do that, man.
hell yeah. Well, thanks for hanging, homies.
Oh, absolutely.
man.
Thank you.